Hi, everyone. Hello. Let's make sure we're live. So, hi, everyone. I hope you all are well. Um, uh-oh. Can you see me on live? Okay, good. Hi, everyone. Hi, and welcome. I'm gonna actually do this again. Discard. All right, cool. So, for those of you who are in the Facebook group, hi and welcome. And for those of you who are joining us, let's see if we can get on. Okay, so we are on two platforms. I did promise yesterday that for our 28-day Own Your Power challenge that I would come on Instagram this weekend and just give you guys a taste of what we're doing inside. Hi, oh my gosh, Carolee25, hello. Good to see you. So, for those of you who don't know who I am, hi, I'm Dr. Omalara Thomas Demo. And oh my gosh, the person who came on, I used to take care of her son when he was how many years? Oh my God, don't even, let's not even go there. How many years ago was that? But I did want to let you guys know that what we're doing right now is our 28-day Own Your Power challenge, and today we're on day 14. Usually this is only in our private Facebook group, but today, just for the weekend, just wanted to open this up to some of our Instagram followers. And as most of you know, I'm a board certified pediatrician, but now have really moved into the space of really liberating Black women in medicine and academia, trying to help us rediscover our purpose and reclaim our power. And today we're going to be talking about making space for knowing and intuition. Okay. And this I thought would be extremely important because no matter how many times we say hashtag believe Black women, hashtag trust Black women, sometimes like we have issues doing that ourselves, right? In terms of trusting ourselves and believing ourselves and knowing that we actually have the answers to everything that we want in life and what we want to create. And so I wanted to talk through this a little bit with some ideas on how to move into that space of truly trusting yourself, knowing how powerful you are, knowing that the ideas and what you're creating is actually really, really important for you, and not always feeling like you have to get all of the information from everyone else. Hey, Danielle. And just so you know, for those of you who are new to this, I usually say to our group members who are in our private group who get the homeworks that go with this each day so that they can apply it, and they also get the giveaways. They get access to the giveaways that we do just to keep the incentives going in our group. So after you finish watching this, if you're on Instagram, definitely hop into my bio and you can actually join and see all of the past videos and really get, I hope, some powerful transformative information. I know that most of what I'm talking about really has been a personal development journey for me, and I feel like understanding how powerful that has been for me, I want to be able to share it in bite-sized pieces that can really connect with people, particularly for us as Black women, because I think I was mentioning this on a conversation yesterday. I was on Clubhouse yesterday and I like forced myself on by basically bringing in other women who I trust and love to be there, because I didn't believe myself and trust myself to do it on my own. But it was absolutely fantastic. And we talked a lot about making sure that there's a reason why we're here in 2021. There's a reason why 1.5 million people died and that you're still here. And so taking advantage of that and showing up authentically and allowing ourselves as Black women to be our most powerful selves. So let me see. Teach to Lift is here. Dial Bright MD is here. And Yogi Runner Mom. Yes, a fellow yogi. I'm not a runner, but a fellow yogi over here as well. I can't run. I ran for the bus and the subway growing up in New York, but not running for pleasure at all. So good to have you guys. So Today we're going to be talking about intuition and faith. And as you all know, I usually use notes. So if you see me looking down here, it's because I do not trust myself to keep all of this in my brain, but I usually take notes so that I can really make sure that we make the most out of the time that we have together. And those of you who are watching on the live, as you know, in Facebook, in our group, make sure you hashtag live because that's the way that you get eligible for the giveaways. And those of you on Instagram who haven't done that yet, after we finish this, get into the group so you can take advantage of the giveaways, the homeworks, and get to see all of the other videos that we are doing and will continue doing for the rest of the month. All right, so intuition and faith. So one of the things that is really important is understanding that these tools of intuition, faith, and knowing are absolutely necessary for us to navigate uncertainty. And what we learned yesterday was that one thing we know about uncertainty is that it's certain, okay? That is always going to be there, and that we are going to have to really actually take to heart the hashtags about trusting Black women, believing Black women in order to move into our best and most powerful selves. So where I wrote down something here, which is that one thing that I usually tell people, especially when I'm on discovery calls with them and trying to understand where is it that they want to go versus where is it that they are, is understanding that 96 to 98% of all of our decisions actually happen in our subconscious mind. And this is where your mind compares whatever situation you're dealing with, it compares it into the subconscious, and it basically brings that idea into the conscious mind, but the conscious mind is really not where a lot of the decisions get made or, get confirmed. It's really in that subconscious. So it brings it and it says, okay, subconscious, this is what we're dealing with here today. And the subconscious mind a lot of times is built with all of these rules, all of these thoughts, all of these modes of how you've operated in the past and what you've experienced. And it's kind of aligning what it is that you've done before versus what it is that you're looking at right now and saying, do these things match? And as you may imagine, right, that a lot of times what the subconscious is doing is trying to protect us, is trying to say, okay, we need to stay alive. So I'm only going to do the things that seem to follow the rules that have been set by your childhood, set by society, and set by all of the other things that are creating messages for us. And one of those things, like for example, one of the rules that was to me is all go to medical school, go to residency, go and find a job, practice medicine, and do it like that. And that's what you've seen, and that's what works, and so that's how you should be moving. And so this idea of taking an idea that, hey, I want to actually support women in a different way, it comes into the subconscious, and the subconscious is like radar. Nope, this does not match anything that has happened before. And it really becomes a fight and a battle between, is this something new that I want to move forward in? This something that is bringing out certain emotions. I want to move here, but the subconscious is telling me no because it's a rule follower. Okay. And for many of us, the current results that we have and the current state that we have is from the current rules that we are following. And if we want different results, if we want to be in a space that looks different from where we are in terms of when we look at our lives and we say that this doesn't match where I thought I'd be, then we have to break rules. But remember, that means that we're going to have to be following our intuition and our faith when new ideas and opportunities arise and recognizing them and moving into those rather than kind of deliberating. So who else has a strength that is deliberative? One of my strengths, I do a Gallup strengths and I have 5 strengths, right? One of them is deliberative. And deliberative, as you know, is a strength, but it is a curse, okay? And unfortunately, a lot of that deliberative nature for many of us means that we will go outside of ourselves and we will talk to Google, we will talk to Facebook groups, we'll put it on Instagram, we'll put all of these things about our situation that we probably already have an idea about how we should go, but are really scared to move it forward. We will put that out and hopefully somebody will give some information that actually fits with the rules that our subconscious has stated, has set for us, what we should not do. And what we're going to talk about today is removing those things from our vocabulary, removing the should and the should not, because those are cultural, societal norms that are telling us, hey, this is how we want you to operate as a Black woman in this society. And usually it is, of course, trying to keep us small, keep us limited, and keep us inauthentic and not at our highest self. So this Dr. Business says, yes, okay, I love it. And Teach to Lift is also with me. Okay, good, good, good. So I'm resonating. Awesome. So one thing that I think is going to be helpful is first internal observation. So the first thing that I think about when I'm thinking about intuition and faith is that a lot of times it's really easy to distract ourselves, especially for women, for us as Black women. We've been told we have to overproduce to be valued. And so we overproduce, we're multitasking, we're doing this and doing that. And what it does is it makes us distract ourselves so that we don't actually have space or the stillness to start listening to our intuition. And so the first thing that I usually say is that let's start with you being a really great internal observer. So one of the first things before you start sending out the email or the text to all these people about this new idea that you have is sitting down, right? And saying, okay, this is what I'm thinking. And literally getting still. And in that stillness, in that space, there is the knowing that you actually have on what the next step is. And that knowing, for me, it comes from God. I'm able to be still and be able to listen better. But for most of us, it's like stillness is scary. We're like, oh no, I can't just sit here for 5 minutes. Let me get my iPad, let me get my phone, let me put it on YouTube, let me do this. And that stillness is what has transformed my life, in particular. So thanks, Casey, for letting everyone know what's going on in here. I appreciate it. Stillness. Yes, stillness. So internal observation. I have a few things that you should be thinking about, and they're all emotion related. So when you think about the idea, I want you to navigate a few things. And this is just a test for you to think about some way that you can apply what I'm talking about here. So the first thing is, am I getting anxiety? Okay. So that means, is something wrong? Does this not match up or align with my strengths, with my values? So is that usually is a something that we can observe. Am I getting anxiety? The second thing that you can observe is, am I getting sadness when I think about this idea? Does it push me into a state where I'm recognizing that there may be something missing? That this may be something, now this idea may be opening up a can of worms where I'm like, oh, this is what needs to happen, or this is what I need to move forward with. So what is that emotion doing? It may be an emotion of nervousness. Is this something new? Right? Our subconscious does not like new. Okay? Our subconscious is like, please, none of that new stuff. And what I usually say is that the way that our subconscious wants us to drive is literally looking in the rearview mirror, driving and looking in the rearview mirror. And what we know from driving and looking in the rearview mirror, right, is that sooner or later we are going to crash, because that's not the way we can function. We have to know where we're going. And so many of us are driving and we have no idea where we are going. We haven't envisioned what we want to create. We haven't envisioned where we want to be in 15 years. We haven't even thought about that. And so imagine yourself driving. Imagine how much energy, imagine how much anxiety you feel in your life when you are just driving, no map, no thought, no GPS destination, nothing. You're just going. You don't know where you're going to turn. You don't know if you need to signal. You don't know what's happening, right? And that, I want us to start thinking about. Our intuition and our faith can be really powerful ways for us to start to vision, this is actually where I'm supposed to go. And I trust it and believe it, because in the stillness, I'm recognizing that this emotion, I'm getting this emotion of either one of the other things is excitement. I'm finding myself like getting excited and identifying what about this is bringing me joy. What about this is actually having me start to think, wow, this is something that I want to move into? Or is it fear, right? Does fear come up? And usually fear is, unfortunately, right, even though we don't like fear, fear is a good sign. Fear is a sign that, whoa, I am getting really attached to this, and there's something extremely important about this thing. Charlie Gilkey calls it thrashing too, where you're kind of like going back and forth. And we don't thrash about the laundry. Excuse me. We don't thrash about, what I gotta, dishes or anything like that. We thrash about the big things. And so when you hit fear, you probably hit something good. You've hit something that now requires you to even spend a lot more time, maybe even writing and starting to really take that time for yourself and follow that intuition. The other emotion that I want to bring up before I move to the number two is awe. So if you are thinking about the idea and you're like, wow, that sounds amazing, right? Then it means that you're probably in the right direction. And the question is, how can I even create this? How can I even build this? And so then that requires you now to say, okay, what's the next step? The next step might be then getting informed from other people. But recognizing that our stillness and our intuition really just helps us to identify, are we on the right track, instead of pushing that out and hearing from everybody and their mama about what they think we should do, which we're moving out of our vocabulary, what we should do, and starting to do what we want to do. Okay, what the universe or God or is telling us that we need to do. Okay. And that one, and one way that I've found that's been really helpful for me in terms of knowing what it is that I want and following my path is thinking about where I want to be. And not just thinking about it, but visioning it, okay? And so I think I talked a little bit about visioning, but want to talk a little bit more about why visualization is extremely important. So many of us create vision boards. I'm not hating on the vision boards, but I am saying I don't think it's sufficient. So what I think about visioning is really around sitting and situating yourself in a space where you can start to close your eyes and once again, be still and see yourself and see where it is that you want to be, right? And why we say that is because this is the process. Once you visualize, and this is number two, the first one was internal observation, the second is visualization. So once you, hi Delia, once you come in visualizing, what it does is now it creates a picture that can be embedded into your subconscious. Now, if we remember, right, our subconscious is the thing that helps us make decisions. So now when they're seeing this picture and it looks so real, your subconscious is unable to say, is it real or is it fake? Is this real or is this fake? I don't know. So your subconscious now puts that picture of where you see yourself in there. And then as you bring in the idea that you're thinking about, that might be a new idea, your subconscious is like, wait, what about that picture that I saw, right? Does this feed into that picture? Because your subconscious is like, why is this picture not equal to where we are right now? And then it becomes like ruthless about figuring out, why is this not the same as where we are? What do we need to do to make this picture that I've envisioned for myself the same as what we're living right now? I hope that makes sense to you guys. Queen Michison, hello. Message for moms, hello. How are you guys? And so one of the things that I want you to think about is when you visualize, it allows for you to put an imprint in your subconscious about where you want to be, such that your subconscious is wondering at every second, why aren't we there? Why aren't we at that place where you want to be? And it's allowing for you now to allow for ideas that actually can pull you closer to that, because now there's this incessant desire to be at that space. And I know that for some of us it's hard to understand this, but visualization is really important. And I want you all to start thinking about, do I know what I want in 2036? Do I know what I want my life to look like? And that doesn't mean that that is set in stone, but it means now I can move in a specific way towards that. And so the other third thing that I want to talk about is just the fact of how much the should come your into your vocabulary, right? And especially when new ideas come for you, a lot of times the word should, right? So I'm thinking about, for me, right? I'm thinking about leaving my job and starting this business. Well, I should, do this, or I shouldn't like do this. And those things, right, take us away from now following our intuition, which has bred this idea, versus saying, okay, well, this is what society and all of these other rules that I told you we need to break, what these rules tell me I should do. And so, really, one of the best, most powerful ways is to start to change our vocabulary and start to remove the shoulds. Okay, start to remove those things and start to let them go, and start to see how do things change when you're using the word want or can, and how is that shifting you from what I should do, what other I've seen other people do, and the problem with comparisonitis, okay, which we are going to be talking about in our private group. That is one of the other pieces of the Own Your Power challenge that we're going to be doing. I think it's day 17, something like that. Today's day 14. The fourth thing, which is the last thing I want you to also think about, is getting out of our own way. Okay. And so just to recap, we talked first about being a great internal observer. So that means we have to, when we're bringing something new to the table, something that feels like, oh, why is this thing popping into my head? We want to now get to a place of stillness and start to observe, what is the emotion that I'm feeling. Okay. Then we want to start to observe, what's the inner talk, right, that I'm feeling from this. Okay. That can be some of the should stuff. And we want to say, okay, what if I remove the should? What if I remove the limits? How does that resonate? Is this something I want to do, or is it something I don't want to do? Okay? The third thing is thinking about your visualization and saying to yourself, have I visualized, and can I visualize where it is that I want to be? And does this idea fit into that in any way? Does it align? Okay, because the visualization piece really helps us to see where it is we want to be, and usually where we want to be is truly aligned with our strengths, with our values, with our priorities, and really with the idea of our purpose and what we want in life. And then this last piece, of course, is getting out of our own way. And so oftentimes the women that I work with in Empowered, and I'll share a little bit about Empowered. Hi, Dr. Lulu. Empowered is our membership community. So for Black women in medicine and academia, where we all are kind of on this personal journey. And one of the things that I usually share is, what is the smallest, most courageous step that you can make? Right? So getting out of our own way and saying to ourselves, because usually a lot of times we'll see the vision, we now know what it is we want. Maybe the intuition is telling us, yes, this is the way to go. But then it just seems so massive. And so one of the things that I usually will say is, what's the smallest, and this is a great tool that I learned from Charlie Gilkey, what is the smallest, not most logical, because we sit in logic, and especially those of us who are in medicine and academia and all of that, we can sit in logic and piece it out day after day. But what is the most courageous step that I can make? That is the smallest one. It might be writing an email. It might be listening to a podcast. It might be joining Empowered, and that also, there's a link in our bio about that as well, because that membership community is fire, and it's really like, it's less than $7 a day. For students, it's much less than that. For trainees, it's much less than that. But for those of us who are outside of that and know that we need a community to help us through be holding ourselves accountable and moving through our lives with intention and reclaiming our power, and the book clubs and the master classes, it's a great space for that. So definitely want you to check that out. But right now, can you tell yourself, can you pop in the chat an idea that has been continuously coming into your head, that even like other people are speaking about it, and you know when that happens, you know it's something that you need to see, but you're feeling fear, right? Can you tell yourself, what is the smallest, most courageous step that I can make in that direction? It might be sending an email. It might be actually looking at, a certain resource. It might be looking at somebody's page who's doing the work that you want to do. It might be entering a community that normalizes that thing that it seems so scary, and seeing other people who have done it. Hey, Arain 67. And so this is really important. So I want you to tell me right now, what is it that's held you back? Have you had an issue where you knew, like you found out, you had intuition, you had some faith, you had intuition in this, that there was something that you needed to do, that you need a way you need to move forward, but then told yourself, I shouldn't, I should, this is not aligned with the rules. This is not aligned with what I've been taught. And I want us to move from reactive planning, which is just using what has happened before, which is what our subconscious likes to do, because our subconscious somehow thinks that if we just do what we've done before and just keep ourselves limited and small, we'll protect ourselves and we won't move into uncertainty and rejection or pain. But what we want to do is we want to understand that every time that we move and do it afraid, that every time we do it, there is no downside, because there's either learning or success, right? There's either learning or success. And so that is really important for us to start to engage in and start to understand that, wow, if I do it afraid, what are the two things that could happen? I could either be successful at it, or I could learn something really cool about this and move. Carolyn said, I let fear of failure, my mom and family belief systems. And the first thing I think is really important, is thank you for this, is awareness of it, right? So then we can know it and say, okay, what am I afraid of? Write it down. This is what I'm afraid of. Do you have evidence that that one is going to happen, or evidence that that is really what might happen? And if you don't have evidence for that, right, that's okay. And even if you do have evidence that this bad thing probably could happen, what's the thing that you can learn from doing this new thing? What are you going to learn? Because anytime you go through any failure, right, it's feedback, right? You're going to learn something. But what I do know is that suffering is when we try to avoid that pain and avoid the potential failure, or rejection, and then we miss out on the blessing. Okay? And I'm going to say that one more time, that suffering is when we have decided that we are going to avoid the potential pain, okay, instead of going through it and understanding that it doesn't keep us down. We continue to rise behind that, right? If we don't, it doesn't allow us to go through it. We avoid it, and then we miss out on our blessing. So I really want you all, as you're hearing this, to understand that, one, support community is really important. Love it, but your intuition cannot steer you wrong. Your intuition is telling you, and usually it's just your connection, is you getting really connected to God, or getting connected to the universe, and really solidifying yourself to know that you actually have the answer and the future that you want to create. But the question is, are you going to be courageous enough to pursue it? Are you going to be courageous enough to actually move forward? And so I want to share that with you. I hope that was helpful for all of you. For any of you who are kind of in this stage where you're like, this was a lot, Omalar, and you want to actually talk through what you're going to, feel free to do a connect call with me, and DM me, and I can get that going if you're interested in that. Most importantly, for those of you who feel isolated, feel like you need a community, really want to be around people, Black women, outside of, everywhere else, and just want a freedom space off of social media. It's not on social media. And a membership community, then check out Empowered. I know there's a link in my bio for it, and just check it out. And there's also a free trial, so there's not really anything that you can lose. Pretty much, you can stop it if you're like, nope, this is not for me. But oftentimes that's not the case. Pretty much, it's a wonderful space. We have so much transformation that's happening just in the idea of being regularly in a space that has women who are saying no and bucking the status quo. So I'm truly excited for all of you. I'm not going to be back on Instagram during the week at all. I don't know if I will on the weekend or not, but one thing I will say is that come into our group, come join the challenge. What is is that the most courageous step that you can take today? Maybe it is. I don't know, for what you want to accomplish. But understand that we've been doing this since the beginning of the month. We have 13 days of really awesome video content that we've been doing each day at 12:30 p.m., even the weekends. You see me here, and really trying to have people transform their lives. And some people have been really funny talking about their edges getting snatched, and oh my gosh, this is a word. And I really am just here to kind of share what I've been learning in my journey. And what I'm really excited about is that there is no mastery. It's ongoing, which is why, although I have coaching programs and other things that can accelerate us, I knew it was really important to have a membership community where we can ongoing engage in this kind of work and continue to make sure that we show up in our most powerful selves, because society wants us not to be that way. They want us to code switch. They want us to be inauthentic. They want us to put on a mask. They want us to be afraid of showing ourselves and saying that, we're protecting our families and protecting our job, because we don't want to make other people uncomfortable. But when we do that, we do fall into potentially being complicit in allowing for this white supremacist society to continue, that is founded on the fact that we do not show up as ourselves and show up as our most powerful selves. And that's why we're doing Own Your Power, so that stops today, that stops right now. So truly excited. Hope that this was helpful. I'm going to continue on my Sunday. You continue on yours. Definitely feel free to reach out to me in the DMs, whether that be for a discovery call to learn more about our coaching and our more high touch support, or whether just to be a part of our membership community. You can do that anytime today by just heading over to the bio. And those of you who have joined our challenge, I'll see you tomorrow at 12:30 in our private group. And for those of you on Instagram, we will share some nice little clips every day. You're welcome, Dalbright. You're welcome, Teach to Lift. We'll share clips pretty much every day or so, little small clips from the fun that we're having in the private group. And I hope this was helpful for you. Bye, everyone. Take care.